One team that has been gaining a lot of yards and scoring a lot of points, Denny Carter, is the 13-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Monday, we got the pretty surprising news that Jalen Hurts picked up a shoulder injury in Sunday's win over the, I'm trying to remember who they played, the Bears.
The Bears.
Chicago Bears. Producer Adam Thomas before the show about how his MVP odds have cratered. Blah, blah, blah. He's not, people are losing. It's a troubling thing. He's going to be out probably at least Christmas Eve against the Dallas Cowboys. And because, they're 13-1, the Cowboys are 10-4. Like, or what are they? The Cowboys 11-4?
No, 10-4.
10-4. Yeah. 14 games. And like the Eagles could put the whole thing on ice Sunday or Saturday. So I'm sure they wish Jalen Hurts could actually play, but 13-1, they're not going to risk it. He's almost certainly going to be out. What does devastating for fantasy managers because Jalen Hurts has been he's been printing money. I mean, he's been like early round QB, like a difference making QB.
Right.
And now he's out. What is the fallout for fantasy managers with Jalen Hurts suddenly on the shelf?
Yeah, I mean, in my remaining teams still alive in the playoffs, I do not have Jalen Hurts. If I did, I would have had to call in sick for this podcast. I wouldn't know anything about being sick. Pat, you're going to have to find someone else because I'm out. I'm done here. I have been institutionalized. And, it's tough. This is tough. I mean, Jalen Hurts, I understand that Josh Jacobs is probably the MVP of fantasy, like, considering where he was drafted and everything. I get that. But Jalen Hurts is a close second. Okay. And Hurts was drafted in like the 4th round, 12-team leagues. So it's not like he was a late round. It's not like Lamar in 2019 where you can get him in the 10th round. Like you had to invest some draft capital in Hurts, and it still paid off. So yeah. So here's what I think this means. Minshew obviously is not going to rush nearly as much as Hurts.
I'll pick a bone there. I think he's going to pick up the lost carries, lock, stock, and barrel.
Right.
No. So not happening. Gardner Minshew, not a dual threat.
So you have that means Hurts is averaging about 11 rushes per game. That's a lot of pass volume kind of lopped off the top there for DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, of course, when he comes back probably this week. So you get a little bit of a bump in pass volume. And then, Miles Sanders, if he still has the lead back job after the disaster that was week 15 and
Speaking of screaming, Nick Sirianni spotted screaming at Miles Sanders.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni seemed less than pleased with Sanders. He gets a bump in short yardage work, including, potentially goal line work, because Jalen Hurts is 3rd in the entire league in rushes inside the 5-yard line. Like, basically, when they get close, there's no other option. It's just, hey, Jalen's going to run this one in. Like, that's what we're going to do.
He has 13 rushing touchdowns,
and everybody knows it, and they still can't stop it. So I do think that it's probably good for Miles Sanders, and I think the increase in pass volume possibly could offset, the efficiency difference between a Hurts and a Minshew.
That might make sense. Another wild card is Dallas Goedert is expected to return from injured reserve on Christmas Eve against the Dallas Cowboys. So even if there is some increased passing volume, which there probably will be, unless they like totally park the bus, go really slow, go like really run heavy on the ground, which they are capable of doing. They did last year, where it wasn't just Jalen Hurts carries. They had far, far more running back carries last year. Maybe they can dust off that offense, but we probably will see a slight uptick in passing volume. But yeah, it's going to be complicated with Dallas Goedert coming back.
I'm not downgrading AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith too much here. I mean, a little bit, of course, but not. It's really we talked about it a few weeks ago on the show. The for as good as the rushing quarterback is in fantasy, and it's like a cheat. They're like cheat codes, especially Hurts. They also are bad for pass catchers, and we see this in a lot of ways. And Smith and AJ Brown have gotten by just fine, because Jalen Hurts has been so good. But Hurts rushing 11, 12 times a game is significant.
Yeah, and it was creating like frustratingly few ceiling weeks for AJ Brown. He has rectified that in the past 3 weeks, where even his bad game was 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. He's had 2 games of at least 8 catches for 119 yards, 181 yards against the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
It's weird. I think AJ Brown's floor goes higher, but the ceiling does come down. I think the receptions floor is maybe a little higher, but I don't think we're going to – those big plays that he kind of makes like in concert with Jalen Hurts. But yeah, you don't have to panic about, because Gardner Minshew is like a perfectly good backup. We basically don't have to panic about the PPR capabilities of AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith with Jalen Hurts on the shelf.
That's right.
And yeah, Miles Sanders, if I can barely even speak to Miles Sanders.
I mean,
after what happened,
he did take to Twitter to remind everybody that he hates fantasy. He does not care about fantasy.
He does not. I mean, and he shouldn't, but I wish he cared a little.
Well, he told us this offseason, don't draft me in fantasy, and I listened per the analytics. It didn't.
He was very candid.
Didn't work out for me.
Yeah. Man, I wonder if he's been plotting this all year. Like if he actually knew like when the fantasy playoffs were.
Miles Sanders has the most disdain for fantasy. He had no idea.
Producer Adam points out, by the way, Dallas Goedert had a huge game with Gardner Minshew last year. 6 catches for 105 yards and two tutters. By the way, we apparently have a reviewer who does not like our use of tutter and tutty,
really?
not realizing that's ironic.
Oh no!
Yeah,
that's unfortunate. This person is not logged on enough.
No, not logged on enough. 2 touchdowns, as they are known, apparently.
2 scoring plays.
2 scores for Dallas Goedert last year against with Mr. Gardner Minshew under center.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.